Hey, y'all. Welcome to For the Fans, where tonight we are excited to talk about the last couple episodes of Big Brother 25, where it has been a wild week. We'll just say that. Mostly highs, some lows, but we're going to talk about it
and
all.
a whole lot of high Sams.
Hi, Sams.
And everything in between. Tonight, I'm joined by Chantae and Sheldon. How are
Hello.
y'all doing?
It's Friday, so I'm happy.
It's been a good week. I just graded 122 exams, and I did it super quick. So I'm so happy it's done. And then vacation is Monday.
Yay!
Wow, isn't that special for
Week
you?
of school, so this is crazy for me.
Oh, it's the first week for you guys?
Our first week.
Oh my God, the tension, the nerves, the big brothers.
Oh, yes.
So much good stuff happening. I just feel like we had a little damper in the Big Brother house after what had been a really good and fun week, and I think a pretty dynamic cast. And to get this shitty thing that we're dealing with from one of the people that was giving nothing to the season is like womp womp. But yeah, overall, what do you give the first week of Big Brother? Give it a grade, my little fellow professors and teachers and
All three of
principals.
us here are educators, by the way.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I would give it a solid A minus.
Okay.
I think maybe I'm grading too hard because I don't know what to compare it to, but I think like a B minus.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Because there was no surprises.
Well, the N-word was pretty surprising.
That was disappointing.
No pleasant surprises.
Well, no. There were surprises. Sari walked out. That was a surprise. A surprise that Felicia wouldn't just be an old woman that would be voted out, and in fact, a character like we've never seen before. Surprises.
Yeah.
The fact
Felicia
that
falling in the hot tub, that was surprising.
there were a lot. I don't know. This was a solid first week for Big Brother, minus the obvious Luke in the room. And, the truth is, he was so kind of irrelevant so far that it sucked, but who cares? So, whatever. So, one guy down, who cares?
Yeah.
Well, I'm disappointed that we don't find out if he has a twin or not. I mean, that was the controversy so far.
Right. That was the most exciting thing about Luke. I was like, we're never going to know. Now, was Luke's twin the mystery house guest? And if Luke did have a twin, which one of them did it? But we're not even going to.
Can you imagine being the twin? The one
right.
that was not.
You ruined it for both of us.
No, could you imagine being Luke and you were not the one?
Well, I want to talk about Luke still.
Yeah.
That entire thing was so. It was something. It was something. His behavior after he said it was also something to me. There was a whole heck of a lot of something there.
Yeah. So originally we were going to talk about because we haven't covered the veto episode. So we were going to talk a little bit about the veto and then jump into last night's episode. But since it's literally like the elephant in the room, let's just go ahead and get the terrible Luke situation out there. I think that it's such a tragic thing that happened that, there's still people that use this in 2023. But the one positive that I think we can take away from it is we've speculated what CBS and Big Brother would actually do because, there's been times in the past where we thought that, oh, did that person just say that? And then they said, no, they didn't. And that they have 100% zero tolerance. And so we were like, okay, time for you to put your money where your mouth is. And they did.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty quick too. They were like, hey, Luke, go to this room. And then he just was gone. So I think that's.
Well, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you, Chantae. Not only was it quick, it seemed to happen, although I don't watch live feeds, everybody seemed to be going to bed, which is why they said, "Dude, you need to go to bed."
Right.
And they were all brushing their teeth and getting up, so it seemed like it was an overnight thing. They had like the exec producers got in there and they said, "We're gonna let him sleep." But first thing, they're all up in the morning. This kid's out.
Yeah.
Right? It was pretty decisive.
It seemed like they were all getting dressed and they told him to go to the room. Did he come back and sleep, or was it?
No. I think that he was getting up.
I think they were like, "You could sleep at home. Get out."
Yes.
No. So it happened at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, Big Brother time. And he went, they went to bed. They woke up first thing in the morning and called him into the DR and promptly removed him. And I mean, I think that all things considered, especially like in Big Brother time of, hey, this is the middle of the night. And obviously they have
never done anything like this.
Right. They have to get executive producers and, CBS and Paramount and all kinds of people involved. I think it was actually a very, very quick process.
Yeah.
So
He was
swift action, which I think sets a really good precedent moving forward. But then also,
only Juan was like the half-hearted, like, let's all talk about it, and then they're like, never mind, we don't want to.
I want to talk about that too, because it wasn't they didn't want to. Jared clearly said, "I don't think we should talk about this as a family," and so like I don't, Chantae. What was going? Do you know what was going through his mind? Like
no, I mean, the thing, I don't know what was going through his mind. I mean, I don't know him at all, so I can't even. But I think it probably was just like there's no reason to sit here and rehash this. It's been dealt with. So what is there? Like what else is there to say, or what else is there to do? And the thing is, like, Luke didn't even say it toward Jared. He was talking to what's his name, the little
Corey.
Yeah, to Corey. So I don't know. It was just all like I don't know. It was just so weird. It was just weird. Like, I think they were attempting something, and then Jared was like, I don't feel like it. And so that was it. And they just kind of moved on. But
I feel like when things have happened, which I don't necessarily know if this particular thing has happened before, but like with the Paloma stuff when she got removed last season, I think it was, everybody was talking about it, and this really seemed like a surprise. Like I feel like most of the people were like, what
did he do? Yeah.
Well, my assumption is Corey went to bed. Jared went to bed probably a little bit confused and shocked and probably uncomfortable. I have a few thoughts about this. I thought that the behavior of, the truth is I asked you specifically, Chantae, do you know what was going through Jared's head? Because this is not something as a white guy I've ever experienced in my life. Have you ever experienced something like this in your life before? Where
personally?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes, definitely. But that's the thing. Like, there isn't a monolithic experience with this. Like, I can't talk to you about what I can think, like, I can speculate based on what he was saying, like realizing like he's the only black dude in the house. Yeah. He was standing right there. I mean, it was clear Luke was comfortable saying that word, and he probably went home and with friends says it all the time, and not necessarily as like a derogatory way. Like, some people think it's a cool thing, or like, oh, we're gonna do this, and he just slipped up because he was late, he was tired, and he forgot, hey, I'm in a different space
with a black man in the room, which I don't know if it makes it worse or better, outside of the fact that I guess we saw that this is, as you said, a word he uses.
Yeah, well, I mean, he felt comfortable enough to say that. Yeah. Obviously,
that's a word that he uses with his friends. It's clear.
Mm-hmm. He goes with his Florida buddies, and they use it all the time. And like it's not something that is easy to really explain, but I do feel like it was a little bit of Jared feeling like this don't really have anything to do with me, but also has everything to do with me, And so that kind of puts you in a weird space, and also kind of having to put the lift on of the responsibility of like like he said something like, I feel like they were more upset about it than me. And that comes from like exposure and these incidents happening a lot and having to be put in this place where you have to like, oh, woo, woo, woo to other people. It is an exhausting place to be. So I can see why he might be like, I'm done with this. Let's move on.
Yeah.
My sense was that after Luke said the word and then Corey left and Hisam left, evidently Hisam didn't hear it. Okay, whatever.
I call bullshit, but okay.
Okay.
He made a face like,
well, I don't know if he was like half asleep or thinking about going to dance or winning another competition or something. I don't know. Anyways, but what I didn't like about what Luke did next is he didn't go to Jared and say, listen, I just said something I never should have said. I don't know how you feel about it. I actually don't necessarily care what you feel about it, but I was just wrong, and I'm sorry. He almost felt like he stayed there to overcompensate on his own guilt for saying it,
and like,
tried
this is okay.
and try to get Jared to
yeah.
It was almost like he was trying to guilt Jared to say, no, don't worry, it's okay. When clearly Jared was sort of like, I don't know what to say to you, because if I was in Jared's shoes, and I can't be in them, like part of me would say, holy crap, this white man just said this to me. The other part is, this doesn't necessarily mean he leaves the house. So if I put up a fight with him about this right now, how does this impact my game and my mother's game?
Right.
So Jared was in a really uncomfortable position here. Yeah. Well, for a bazillion reasons.
He didn't say it to Jared. He said it to Corey. He was talking to and referring to Corey, but just saying the word because, like, so it's, and like the whole, oh yeah, you probably should have got up and like it was just so. I think Luke knew. He was like, oh well, that's it for me. So
yeah,
he knew he did something very wrong.
Oh yeah,
I don't think he's mature of a human to say I'm sorry in that moment. He also was probably shocked. He didn't.
Well, but here's my thing: is two thoughts. One, I hate immediate apologies, and I feel like if in that instance, if Luke would have been like, Jared, I am so sorry, it would have been from a reactionary place of like, oh, I know I fucked up. I need to cover my ass. I really, and my husband may not appreciate this about me, but whenever, we have a disagreement, I don't want to just apologize to apologize. I want to sincerely mean it. And that is something that I also appreciate from other people. I want you to take time and think about why you're apologizing. I don't want it to just be a reflex. But then by the same token, you don't want it to just be, okay, I'm going to apologize because that's what is expected of me.
But he did worse. He
did worse.
like he placed himself in Jared's physical, and it was just he was trying to almost guilt his way out of it, guilt Jared into accepting his non-apology is what it felt like to me. I will say, like, one of the things, Chantae, you said, sorry, I completely interrupted you, Kylie, but like you did say that you're right. Like he didn't say it to Jared.
Do you mean that apology?
No. And the truth is that he said the word, and I do kind of believe that he said the word meaning friend or dude,
or like
just
yeah.
But I don't think that changes anything, right? Because that's just a word that I do not know enough about American history and the history of that word, but it seems to me that that's just simply a word that has so much evil baggage to it that it doesn't exist. It shouldn't exist.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you can't make those like and interpretations of he didn't really mean it, because that then it kind of the whole zero tolerance policy goes out the window. So whether he meant it maliciously or he just meant it because he thinks it's a cool thing to say, which that's a whole other bag of clams or whatever. The fact is he said it, and then he's gone. And I think that whole dance with Jared afterwards was like, I don't even know. I think that was more uncomfortable for me than him saying it. I'm like, why are you still there? Why are you still talking? Go. Just go.
Just go.
Leave the guy alone in his dog bed.
And that was the other point that I was going to make before Sheldon so rudely interrupted me, is that we've talked about this before with other things of Jared is in a game situation too for $750,000. And, Sheldon, like you said, you don't know that he's going to be removed. You don't know how your reaction to him is going to then possibly affect your game. And, we talked about it like in BB All Stars 21, 22, whatever that was, that, they were making fun of Ian Terry being autistic. And, that is a situation that I can maybe speak on a little easier because I have a special needs child. And that, I would hope that in that situation that I would speak up and be like, this isn't cool. Like, you're talking about him rocking and, stimming. And these are things that, comfort him, but that he also can't control. And, that you would hope in just your morals that you would stand up, but that you don't know how in a situation like this that is just not the real world, how you're going to react to it. And so, I've seen so much like from all different kinds of angles towards Jared of he should have said something, or we don't know what he was thinking. We don't know how he's feeling. Like, I think Jared did perfectly fine because it's Jared's game. Jared did what he wanted to do and needed to do. So to me, it's like, I have no problem with it.
But also, like, it wasn't Jared's responsibility. It was Luke's. Right. Like, why should Jared have to take responsibility for someone else's actions? And I think that happens way too much when we get into these situations. Talking about like anti-racism and allyship. It's like, you got to stop making me responsible to clean up your mess. That's your mess. You get the broom, Yeah. And so like the whole Jared should have said, Jared, again, it had nothing to do with him and everything to do with him at the same time. And it was whatever, Yeah.
That's such an interesting point. Chantae, what do you, this is a little bit off topic for BB. How does, like, I'm sure you hear that word in your school. So Chantae, you're an administrator in a school.
Elementary school. So no, we don't.
Okay, so it's younger.
But it is something, especially in like middle and high schools. And so, you have the whole, well, I'm Black, so I can, and you're not, so you can. But at schools in general, it's kind of same. It's like zero. Like, I get at home, you may do what, but here, this is.
What's the consequences?
Well, it depends. I mean, they do a full investigation. Like, it's a whole to do, which is why I'm so happy I'm at an elementary school. But like, yeah, it usually is like a whole investigation, going through it, figuring out like, it's so much nuance and so much, there's a lot to take into it. And in terms of like people's rights and comforts and protections, especially because it's children. So yeah, that's why I like, oh, don't you want to do secondary? No, I don't.
No, take the innocent babies.
Look, I also have to, like, I wanted to talk about the fact that Jared did get up and say, I don't think we should talk about this in the family. And I thought that was really like, I was trying to, I've been thinking a lot about this. I've been trying, I want to understand what he was thinking, although it's not my business what he was thinking. But I wonder if he was basically saying, look, I was in the room, Chantae, as you said, like, it wasn't towards me, so I don't think he meant it, but it was bad, but I don't want to talk about it, but he was also my friend yesterday, and now he's like I could just imagine the bazillion different emotions and thoughts and feelings, and like how crappy it was that, yeah, like, they were having this big conversation with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it involved like 3 or 4 people at best.
One of which evidently is deaf and didn't know what happened.
Right. So like,
but not the deaf person.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
And so then I feel like if I were in that position, I would be I'd be like, why am I sitting here? Like, I probably would do the same, be like, I'm done. Y'all do what you're going to do. I'm not going to sit here and like, I don't know. It started to feel performative.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could see why he's like, I'm not, I don't want to do it.
I think that's a great word, because I kind of felt a little bit that way with Corey's reaction. It felt a little
horrible word. You could just say the N word. Like, just come on, dude. Like,
it felt a little like there. I don't know if he was just trying to protect himself.
Well,
like what he like.
Well, I mean, I think for the majority of white people and brown people, it's not something that we're comfortable talking about, either. I don't use that word. And so it is uncomfortable to also then talk about somebody else saying it. And I think that, like I just want to show like kind of everybody grace in the situation except for Luke. Luke is the one that did something wrong, like Corey didn't do anything wrong. Jared didn't do anything wrong.
Hisam might be lying, so maybe.
Yeah, Hisam might be lying. And, if he is, like, he doesn't want to be involved in the situation. He doesn't do anything wrong either. The only person that did anything wrong in this situation was Luke. And, Luke is now on the outside.
And give Luke a little bit of grace.
Well,
he screwed up, but he didn't kill a person.
Right.
Like, he did something really, really bad.
Do I think that Luke is the worst person in the world and he should be fired from his job, that no one should love him, like his family should disown him? No. I mean, he has now something that he is going to be dealing with on the outside, and I hope 100%. That he
he got a consequence for that.
Right. I hope that whatever the consequences are, that he accepts them and he grows and learns. I don't know Luke as a person, and so I don't know if he's going to be open to that, but that's all you can hope for a person.
I hope so. And like, I think part of it for me, and I guess maybe I don't have the right to this, but we didn't get a learning opportunity from Luke. Like we didn't see that. And look, like what were you going to do? Wait to see the conversation between Luke and Jared where he like that's unnecessary too. But right. I guess from my side, like, he is a human and we all make mistakes. We all do ridiculous, horrible, racist, evil things in our lives, some worse than others. But I would give Luke a little bit of grace, not because I'm standing up for him in any ways, but because he is a human, and I don't know if he's out, if they let him out. I don't know if he's on Twitter, but the world's about to destroy and attack
well,
him.
He is, right? And so far he appears to be not remorseful. He posted on his Instagram like a cheese wedge and like the half saluting face. So to me, he's making light of it. And but same thing, even if he's not remorseful at all, like,
okay, I don't have grace anymore.
In the big scheme of things, like, he does not affect my life. So I really give two shits about Luke, to be perfectly honest. Like, I'm glad CBS reacted appropriately, and I just hope that the rest of the season can move forward with a really, really good cast, and just put this nastiness behind us.
Yeah. So let's move on. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised, but I was like, oh, does this mean they won't do an eviction because they got rid of someone? I was like, did he just save Kirsten? And no, that didn't happen.
Look, I actually wanted Kirsten to stay quite a bit. Compared to Felicia, I would rather Felicia to stay.
Right.
But I feel like we didn't get enough Kirsten, because I think there's more for us to see in her. But I am not unhappy that she left, because it would have been completely unfair to Riley, because you're in the middle of the game. She made choices. I have to say, we didn't have a Taylor Hale situation this week with Kirsten, but it did sort of feel like Kirsten was not in any room with anybody. It felt like they were ostracizing her, and they basically gave up on her as if she wasn't anywhere. It was, and again, I don't watch the feeds, but it was very uncomfortable to me. The only time we saw Kirsten was in a diary room session or with America. That's it.
Well, I think that Big Brother is such a unique game in that what we're shown on the episodes, we had the episode Wednesday, and we have the 4 people that are put up on the blog. Well, then we don't get another episode until Sunday. Well, at that point, they'd already played the veto whenever we're getting the episode, and they'd played the veto. Obviously, someone didn't have any plans to use it, and so they're already like, okay, Kirsten's gone, even though we still have the formality of evicting her. But for the next 4 or 5 days, like, we're already like assembling our troops to move forward. And so I think that, especially at the beginning, whenever you don't have an alliance, and I don't think that they excluded her because she was involved like in house stuff. But obviously when they're planning, oh, hey, next week we've got to take a shot at the 8, I mean, they're not going to include Kirsten because you're not here. You're not going to be here.
I have to say, let's talk a little strategy here, because it was, to me, the wrong move to get rid of her, without a doubt. I do not understand the move at all. Felicia should have gone home, because it seemed that until by the time the vote was happening, there was a split house, and everybody knew it was a complete split house. And if they had any chance of taking Kirsten and making her one of their own, they should have done that, because Felicia is clearly not theirs, and Kirsten was a little bit not
willing to do whatever to stay.
Right. So I don't fully I think America was right. She was right that I don't know, Kirsten, not the United States of America. They're never right.
Yeah, we need to say USA and America for the rest of the season. Like, that's
but
how we're going to.
I think America was right. Like, it is, especially for America's game, who actually seemed to be one of the only ones that created any sort of bond with Kirsten that we saw. So what do y'all think?
I think they are arrogant, the handful, the 8, because, well, they don't know that Jared's a double agent, but he is. And so but the whole dividing on age lines, they just were a little too smug. And so that they didn't think they needed Kirsten. They were like, oh, we're good. And so I feel like they were a little not as active in like trying to kind of solidify their strategy. They kind of like, oh, we're good. Yay.
Well, I think, we're shown that conversation where Red clocks the entire alliance to Riley. And to me, if I were playing the game and I'm Riley and Red comes up to the room and he clocks the whole alliance, the next time we're together, I'm going to be like, we have some problems. And we need to switch things up, because clearly, like, Hisam is working with the older people, so he is not going to use the veto. But we see the bond that Suri and Felicia have, and Hisam and Izzy's always over there. Like, there is clearly another side besides us. So why would we not take someone out that is clearly on the other side?
Right.
And so I don't know if it's like just strategic unawareness or what exactly.
They didn't even try to investigate to see, like, oh, if he's clocking us, who is he with? They didn't even try to figure out what else was going on.
Right.
Well, there is a little bit of overconfidence there. And look, they are, I don't think they purposely set out to be the young kids. I think they just, when you're 22, you are probably
who you naturally navigate
with a 23-year-old, and Suri is probably more likely to get along with Felicia because they're close in age. Like, it's just the way it is. I think it's funny that Mimi is part of that group just because she's married. Like, that means that she's old, or Red because he has this long beard. Like, I think that's just lunacy.
Isn't Red 50 something?
No, I think
he's 30.
Oh my
30 something.
We did this last week, didn't we?
Yeah. Yes, we did. But like, I kind of wonder if the fear was Kirsten is too much of a wild card. Mm-hmm. And it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't, and maybe a little bit of overconfidence in competition skills because their thought was, well, we're young, we're going to beat them all.
Yeah, we're gonna win all the competitions. Like, we've got Mad and we've got me, Riley, and Jag, and we're just gonna like clean sweep all summer, which is so naive. I mean, even if you are good in competitions, you're not going to clean sweep anything because there are random, like where
And
we're
they're
going to drop a Plinko chip. Like, baby, you aren't going to win them all.
playing for those types of things.
So, I
Yeah.
I I think
But
that
you
in the
see, like,
last
even if that's the case, Kylie, for the handful, not the 8, the handful, the 5, they're okay with that.
Mhm.
Like, that's fine because they know that, like, in fact, you don't want the 8 to stay till the end. Like, you want people to go from each side until it's your core 5 or your core Riley and Jag. Like,
Yeah.
you want people from your own side to go. Like, I think that's probably part of the decision making. But
Mhm.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I don't know how well they're taking care of their team. They kind of just form, but they're not really maintaining it, I guess. And like I feel like Siri and Felicia, they are kind of trying to maintain, and they have like, I don't know. I feel like they're doing a lot more to kind of keep. Here's a question that's popping up for me now that Bowie's on the old people's side. How long is she going to keep lying about her age?
Forever.
I
There's
I
no
mean,
need to tell
Bowie.
the truth now.
I can kind of understand, like, if you want to come in so that you're not targeted as the old person, which she's 45 years old. Thanks,
Right.
B Bean, for dropping the ages in the chat. It's actually extremely helpful. But she's 45 years old. She lies and says she's 34. So, I mean, she's not making herself young, which she would not have been able to pass off as anyways, which I think her saying 34 was a stretch. Like, I don't think she looks
She looks old.
34.
I'm sorry. She does
Right.
not
I
look
mean,
34.
right. I'm 37 and I don't feel like
You don't look a day younger than 55.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I don't feel like Bowie and I look like we're even close in the same age group. And so,
No.
for Bowie to pass herself off as a few years younger than me, I think is wild. But, Felicia also said that she was going to lie about her age. She was going to say she was in her 50s. But Felicia got in there and she's like, oh, Cerie's here and Hisam's a little bit older. And Bowie, this bitch here, she's old too. So
Right.
Felicia was like, I'm just going to say my age. And I think that is the way to go.
Live my truth. Yes, I'm old.
Yeah, like at a certain point when you look around, yes, that might have been your plan coming in, but it is always okay to pivot.
I also will say one thing about Hisam. This guy, I would, like, he said he's a physician's assistant or something. I would know he's a doctor.
No,
I'm
he
sorry.
he did not say he was a PA. He said that he was like a nursing assistant.
I'm sorry. You like that
No.
man looks
Like
like
a
he's a boss.
Right.
He looks like my doctor. I'm like,
Like,
Well, I was talking about it with one of my friends that's a physical therapist, and she said, no, I'm not trying to knock, like a nursing assistant. She said, but why? Okay, you don't want to be a doctor. Why don't you just say you're an RN?
Yeah.
Because then you've got the same medical knowledge basically,
Right.
but you're not a doctor. She's like, I think he can pass off as an RN very easily.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. He looks. The way he even carries himself. I'm like, that's a doctor.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's this thing about him that just says doctor.
Think that through. He should have tested it out on people, and they'd have been
Today I'm a race car driver.
like,
So I think though, but going back to what you said, Chantae, about the 5 just kind of not having it all together. I think that the difference is that you've got a 5 that are very green to playing a game, and
True.
you've got Cerie who is
nuclear.
reality royalty.
I must also say that little hiding place that the bye-bye bitches or the older people found,
Professors.
that is, I've never seen anything like that in BB house design that you could actually hide somewhere. That is brilliant. I would be there all day. I wouldn't want to see a person out of sight, out of mind. You can't vote me out.
Yeah. You're like,
I'm staying
no,
there.
yeah, you are here, aren't you?
What? Where'd he come from?
Yeah. But
That's
that
where
I do
Louis
like
Quinn
that
is.
hiding space. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, this is my first time getting to talk about Big Brother since the premiere. And, we were all so freaking hyped about just seeing Cerie. But, we've got 1 week down in the house. What are our general impressions of everyone? Who has surprised you the most in terms of flipping your opinion on them?
Ooh.
Mm.
Can I just say, Izzy, I can't.
She's
Izzy's a lot.
Okay, so
Izzy-
let's talk about Izzy. Let's talk about her.
It's a lot. She's a lot. That
She
conversation she had with Riley, where basically they were trying to talk game. Riley was telling her basically some like the appropriate politically correct thing that you do in a game situation. And Izzy's like, no. We're gonna stop this right now. We know
cut
what's
the
going
bullshit.
on.
We're
Yeah.
different
And
sides.
she's so intense.
Yeah.
It is a perfect foil for Suri.
Yeah.
It is a perfect shield for Suri to have somebody with such a personality. Now, I will make a guess will get very annoying to people very quick.
Oh yeah, I feel like she's next. I feel like they're like Izzy is the next on the block. Everyone's gonna go after her.
So I didn't know what to expect from Izzy. I mean, really, we didn't know what to expect from any of them. We got like a 3-minute intro to everybody, preseason. But I mean, Izzy is just an absolute ball to watch because she's not good. Like there is zero chance that Izzy wins this game. Kevin chose her for his draft team. RIP to that pick.
Yeah.
But
Actually, I'm not sure that there's zero chance.
no, I
Come
think there is zero chance that Izzy wins the game, but I think she is here for a good time, not a long time, and we
Right.
need to enjoy her because this is what we want. I don't want everyone to be a game bot and just, I don't want everyone to play necessarily like Suri because this is a television show. Like I want to be entertained and you want to have the personalities and Izzy has it in
Well,
abundance.
and look, we
And
saw a little sign from Suri of the benefit of having Izzy. It's us having to watch how Suri manages Izzy, and that's
Right.
going to be the more entertaining part. It's not going to be Izzy.
Yeah.
yeah.
And Izzy will be expendable. I have to say the one that is obviously the most surprising to me is Suri. Not because I didn't know what she would do, but first of all, seeing her in an outfit was horrible. She should only she should only be in nice clothes or on a beach. Having her dress up is just disrespectful to her. So big mistake, big brother. But
At least
you
they
know,
didn't give her a wedgie, right?
yes, but I must say the thing about Suri is that there is this calmness about her that I think is very rare in Big Brother players, and usually only the best Big Brother players have that calmness. It's a la Derek who was probably one of the best players. It's just cool. You know things are going on in that brain. She's making you feel good about yourself. It's just a masterclass to watch. It's so cool, so cool.
Right.
And the little tutorial she has with Jared. You're talking too much.
Yeah. Talking too much.
Stop talking.
I think the person most surprising to me is Red. He's not 50. I'm just kidding. Like, how old is he again? He's actually younger than me. What? But I think I'm surprised that Felicia's still there, to be honest.
Wow.
Like, I was thinking she's either going to go in and be dynamic and really take it over, or she's going to go home real early. Because, she talks a lot, but she don't back that action up. So the fact that she's still there, I was expecting there to be like a switcheroo or something, but
Yeah, I think to me, Felicia is the most surprising in the best way. I mean, I'm pretty sure that she was our last pick in the draft. Sheldon, you have Miss
Do
Felicia.
you know why she was my last pick? Because I wanted her so bad.
that reverse psychology.
She.
I love her. I actually had a feeling about her in some strange way, and she is giving it to us. I don't know if she's going to win, but Kylie's about to slap me for interrupting her again.
I'm the worst at interrupting. I'm never going to slap you. No, I think that it's great just to have her because she's so entertaining. She's so authentically herself. Like day one, she is talking to Suri in the living room. She's like, how am I going to do 100 days of people just yapping their lips? Like so real. But she's so entertaining. Her laugh is contagious. Her falling in the hot tub is gold. She's, like on microphone number 5 that she's ruined. Just everything about her is great in such an unexpected way. But then she is strategic. She is strategically playing.
Mm-hmm.
She is. I'm worried that she almost
is strategically playing.
I'm worried that she overshares to the
Yeah,
people.
I'm not gonna give Felicia a 0% chance of winning. Like, I can see
No,
a world where it happens.
I could absolutely see a world where
Imagine
Sheldon
what
wins the
happened
draft again.
and Suri would have been placed on a rocket and launched off the planet. But I mean, that's not a 0% chance.
But here's the thing about Felicia. The best thing about Felicia is Suri, and that is the fact that if they're in any top 5 and Felicia and Suri is around, Suri's going home.
Right.
Right.
That's why
That
I'm
is
saying
Felicia's benefit. Like I think
Yeah.
she has a good chance, folks.
Okay.
I really do.
I think she does too. And, everybody loves her. There's not one person in there that's like, damn, Felicia needs to leave the house. Nobody thinks that about her or Suri, which is mind blowing. I mean,
I'm surprised that
I feel like I would be like Cameron if I were playing the game. In no aspects would I want to be like Cameron, except that when you make a comment, you are dead. It's like our chance, and you.
Oop,
Sorry,
Kyle's
lost my
breaking up.
connection.
Kylie's breaking up, but she was talking about Felicia. One of my favorite things about Felicia is, even though she is obviously the oldest person in the house, she is not mentally the oldest person in the house. Her personality, she is young at heart. Like, this is not a 60 whatever year old woman. Although, like, I don't really think of a 60-year-old woman as being old anymore. I think of a 95-year-old woman as being old. And yes, Kylie does have some dial-up internet BBing. She certainly does, out in the middle of Texas. Is there anybody else who surprised you, Chantae?
Who else surprised me? No, I don't feel like the way Riley is playing, not too surprising. I don't feel anyone else has shown enough of themselves for me to have my first impressions of them. I guess I'm surprised at how good Jared is doing, even though he is getting coaching, but even without coaching from Mom, he's able to like make some decisions.
Yeah. The other person that I must say is a little surprising to me is America. I'm surprised that we are not getting enough of America, because the little bit that we do see her, there are sparks of winner in there. And so I don't know if it's just because she's not perfectly aligned yet. She isn't really creating a path yet for herself. But there's something about the way she thinks that is exactly what I thought it would be. And I'm so happy that I'm seeing it.
Yeah, she's clearly smart, but I think right now she's trying to chill. She's like, I'm not trying to make any waves yet, but yeah.
I think that, this week focused on the main characters of being, Felicia, Suri, Riley,
Jag.
No, I don't feel like we got a ton of Jag.
We got a lot of Jag with Riley, which was because they're 1 and 2, right? That duo was really the showmans.
So he's not a main character; he's a side character. He's
a side character. There's like main characters, side characters, and then there's like extras. And right now, America is an extra, but that doesn't mean that that's how it's going to be. But you're condensing a whole week of 24-hour gameplay basically into 3 hours of television. And another person that I think is positioned really, really well, but we're not seeing a lot of yet, is Mimi. She's a part of the professors, but then we also have I think they're calling themselves the Sugar Bears, maybe. Mimi, Felicia, Jared, and Suri. And so Mimi is being involved in and brought into a lot of different things, where we got to see a little bit of like, oh, okay, like we're the handful, but let's also have these other people. Mimi is kind of in the center of that on the other side, but because the other side they're not in power last week, we don't get as much of that. And so I think we're going to get them soon.
Yeah.
So is it time for spoilers? Because I want to know who won HOH.
I want a spoiler.
All right. The brown sugar babes. I knew it was something like that.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah. Yeah, that is what they're calling themselves. And so I think Mimi is positioned well. But yeah, I'm excited for a new week, new main characters to come to the forefront and us to, just kind of mix it up a little bit. Except that Sari can remain a main character and Felicia because I love
She
them both.
will. And Corey will continue narrating the season.
Yeah, I don't need it, but okay. One last thing before we move on, though. I am an absolute hater of diary room shout outs. However, Corey did have the ultimate zing on his brother in his shout out where he, leaves the DR of saying, beat you, Zach, which you have to love. Like, he outlasted his brother. He made it through the first eviction. So I did appreciate that shout out. Anything else to add about this first week before we talk a little bit about the spoilers?
Nope.
No, except one other thing that I found a little bit strange. The fact that they left Matt in a diary room while voting was
Lord help us. This could also turn into another 20-minute conversation on how to accommodate someone with a disability.
Mhm.
Do better.
And it's not like they didn't know.
Like really, I'm not saying it's not hard. You need to have a producer in there that has a sign up and it's telling
I saw it on Twitter, so I can't claim the idea as my own. Put a light in the DR, a green light, like it is okay for you to get up now.
Mm-hmm.
That's simple, where they are able to communicate to him and not have that moment because, it was Julie didn't know what to do. Matt didn't know what to do. And Allison Grodner did respond on Twitter and said that they are actively working on accommodations. I'm like, well, fuck yeah, I would hope so. But he's already been in the house for 8 days.
Before
So
this point, it should have already been figured out.
well, and I don't think it's just the DR situation, but he's talking about how he can't hear Big Brother whenever they're making announcements. If they have a competition that, involves any type of playing something, he is not, he's not going to be able to hear. And I do not trust that Big Brother is going to accommodate that. But, he's also talking where he's having a hard time in the group settings because he
can't see everybody
overwhelmed and he cannot hear them. He is deaf.
Right.
Yeah. It was really, it was embarrassing. It was uncomfortable for me, for him, and it's embarrassing for Big Brother and CBS. Like that, it was ridiculous. It should not have happened. Yeah. Or even something as simple as they usually do a vote and then they take a commercial break and then the rest put him the last one right before the break.
Right.
Don't embarrass the guy for nothing that is his fault.
Right.
Yeah, it was awful.
Especially when it's an easy fix that should have been considered ahead of time.
I also didn't really understand. Is there a even BB in his ass? Is there a teleprompter in there?
No,
how did he
I think Kylan tweeted out last night that there is no monitor in the DR, so they do not.
But Julie was talking to him. How did he? Is there? I don't get it.
She got louder. She kind of shouted the second time around, I think.
Yeah, no, I think that they have the speaker where they can, hear, hey, time to vote. Yeah. But I don't think he could hear her the second time or third, it was awful.
Figure it out, CBS.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Figure it out.
Light in the corner is turn it on, turn it off. So simple.
Yeah, so simple. Okay. Moving on. No, I had wanted to talk about that and I'd forgotten because there's just so much to cover. But if you do not want to know any spoilers, now is the time to dip out. However, if you are listening to us on a Friday night and you're, a day out from the eviction, you probably like spoilers. So let's talk about it. Sheldon, do we have a new HOH?
You told me we do.
Oh. Who is it?
It's a man. He is older than 40. His name? Hisam.
So the professors are in charge.
That will always be my favorite picture. I don't even care. Yeah, so I love the power shift. I love that it went to the other side of the house. I love that Sari is going to be safe. We can just clear that out of the way. So
Thank
we're going to
you.
get Sari for at least 3 weeks. This is amazing.
And I
But
want to see how him being HOH kind of implodes the handful. Like, what is that going to do to them?
So yeah,
I'm
the
imagining.
difficulty here with Hisam is I like the guy. This is now the third or fourth competition that, or second, third that he's won or come close. Like he chill, relax, take a deep breath. Don't, like start flopping, start like you people
He
are gonna
has
start looking at
something
you.
to prove
To whom?
Yeah.
himself, clearly.
He's a
Once
doctor. It's enough.
again, talking about Twitter, Michael Bruner tweeted out, "Don't win all the competitions. It doesn't work out well for you in the end." And so take it from him. It's
Excuse me. He got a good man, Michael Bruner. So it all worked out just fine for Michael Bruner.
yes, okay, but he doesn't. He did well in the little night one competition, and stays basically in pace with a man that is going to probably be in the Olympics next year. Okay. So physically competes well with him. He gets second place in the HOH competition. He then wins the veto and then wins the HOH. Like, what is you doing?
Well, this actually is great for Sari because she already said that's right. She wants him to appear to be the leader of the professors.
Here's my only difficulty with that. Like I like that makes perfect sense. But if he does leave, who then could actually win competitions in that group? Like that is the fear. If there really are physical competitions, like they kind of need him around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like I don't know. I want him. He needs to be around for Sari and Felicia.
Well, what would probably be best for Hisam, and we'll get into, his target in a minute, but what would probably be best for Hisam after this week is for the power to stay on their side. He needs, like a Mimi to step up, or Izzy, which I'm living for. Please, before she gets evicted, can we please have an Izzy HOH, because it will be absolute chaos.
The power might go to her head. She don't have power now, and she keeps going crazy. If she gets HOH, we're like, oh, who's gonna rein her in? And Siri rein her in?
Yeah. It would be really, really beneficial for Hisam to win this HOH, not win the veto. Please, Hisam. Like, let's go get the baby plane to fly over the house that says, Hisam, do not win the power veto. Do not win it, okay? Let somebody else win. And just, he doesn't need to win the veto. He obviously can't play for HOH, and he needs to just go sit up in that corner that Sheldon was talking about and let people forget about him for a week.
Chill, Hisam, chill.
But Hisam is having his talks. He is strategizing, and obviously he knows that he has to take a shot at the other side of the house. And at this point in time, it looks like he is going to be nominating Riley and Cameron. And if and I think Riley is his target, and he seems like he pretty much told her to her face. I didn't watch any of the feeds today, but I did try to catch up on BB Twitter. And I think he pretty much told her, like, here's the information. I'm going to nominate you. And of course, Riley is upset, and he plans, which I don't necessarily like this, but if Riley were to come off, I think he plans to put up Matt. But I think that if Matt is sitting next to Cameron, then Cameron is going to go home. And honestly, if Cameron is sitting next to Riley, I hope Cameron goes home. Well, and here goes my dial up again, y'all. Sorry.
Can we talk a little bit about Cameron? Because we were all very high. Well, myself and Kiley, we were very high on Cameron in the previews, but we haven't seen that much from him. Like, what is going on in the live feeds with Cameron?
I don't know if my internet connection is good enough, but Cameron is a mess. Okay. He tells Riley that, like, I'm going to go basically like infiltrate the other side. I'm going to just like tell them stuff. And he like spills everything. Like, tells all their lines. Not that they didn't already know anyways, but he tells them so they if they didn't already know, they know even more. But he's like really kind of buddied up with Red, and they got like the little country boy alliance going. And yeah, he's also just really, really weird about Riley. Like, I don't know. He says, bingo, just pin that. Um, he's really weird about Riley where he says that, oh, she's like my daughter, da 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 da, but then it maybe like an attraction thing to her probably. It's just a really weird situation, but
older enough from her to be like, you're like my daughter. Like, that's weird.
Oh, then I don't understand. If Cameron sold out the handful plus 3 more equals 8, it's like Kate and Kate and Jake.
John and Kate plus 8.
John and Kate plus 17. So then why would Cameron be up? Why would if he's no longer working with the handful, keep Cameron.
No, I think he still is working with them. He just wanted to make it seem like they're not a thing, I think.
Like he's playing both sides?
Oops.
I think he thinks he is, but the professors can see through it. Yeah, they know when they're using Chat GPT, and they're like, okay, Cameron, you are not authentic here.
All I can say is bye-bye, bitches.
Yeah. So yeah, no, he's pretty well clocked, and I think that there's a good chance that we can see Cameron leaving this week. And honestly, like I kind of like Riley, and
she's cute, she's sweet. I want to see the Riley Jag romance.
Yep, me too. Me too. Let's see it.
Yeah, I like Jag a lot. I like Riley, and so like maybe let's just give old Cameron the boot back to Georgia and
Georgia.
Just go from there. But that is kind of what I know of what is going on in the BB house at the moment.
I have one more spoiler. Yay. Julie will be back on Thursday, and so will we.
Wow. Way to spoil it, Sheldon.
Thank you so much.
Oh, we completely missed one whole crucial part of the episode, and that is, what are we going to get from the BB multiverse?
From the scary verse, or what are they calling it? The horror verse?
I think the scary verse is what is unleashing on the house.
Another
spoiler was that Jared went to the nether regions.
Oh.
Jared is in the nether region. He came out of the nether regions.
But he's back from the nether regions. But he went to the nether regions. I don't know. I have not seen if they know what is happening from the scary verse, or if we know yet, but I don't know. And if anybody out there does, they can tell us. But let's speculate. What do you think the twist could be?
I hope that they end up going through that portal and they end up on an island and they're actually playing Cerie's game.
They're playing Survivor.
They're playing Survivor for a week. Jeff Probst comes and snuffs somebody. That's what I want to see.
Wow. Yeah, no, I don't really have a prediction as to what the next twist can be, but I don't care what it is, just so long as it doesn't F up what we've got going, because right now we kind of got a good thing going with split sides of the house.
What if they're all in complete isolation and they have to play the game without talking to each other for 1 week?
Okay, well, that's not happening.
That sounds like horrible TV, but maybe fun.
Well, it sounds like the show The Circle.
You have to hope the people on your team are going to do what they say they're going to do. And
exactly. I don't know. Well,
that is definitely not happening, but Sheldon, you should probably run a game or something. And
I've never run a game.
And do that.
I've never run in my life. Look at me.
You're a mess. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, well, are there any other thoughts before we wrap it up here, y'all?
You know what? Minus Luke, great start to the season. the fact that we actually have gameplay going on in week 1 says something. The
Mhm.
fact that there's alliances says something. The fact that Sari is there says everything.
Mhm. I still think they're gonna bring someone else in.
What?
I
I
know, Shelby, I know you hate the idea, but
I thought they were going to, but I thought it was going to happen last night, and I don't know. Maybe Luke just effed it all up. I don't know, but at this point, I don't think they're going to, which I'm glad for. Like if Luke had to leave the house for that, then great, because I had no attachment to Luke. Oh, and draft update: CJ had Luke and Kirsten,
oh
Oh,
dang.
oh, poor CJ.
so CJ is down 2 people. All right.
Awkward.
Well, don't forget that once again, we still have our little
Golden power veto.
giveaway going where we have a signed golden power veto from the original veto king himself, James Ryan, that we will be giving away this season. And so make sure you subscribe so that you can be entered into that. And then we will be back on Monday with the 5 p.m.ers, Kevin, CJ, probably Chantae. Who knows who else might pop into the mix. And then we will be back next Thursday live after the episode. We will typically be live on Thursdays immediately following. It just did not work out scheduling wise for us to go live last night, but typically that is when we will be here. So make sure you subscribe so that you get a notification every time we go live, and we will see all of you next time. Bye, y'all.